हाँ नहीं अभी तो खुल गया है, देखते हैं. So friends, now we will have a brief demo on how to file GSTR-3B on the portal. You can see after login, each taxpayer, if you log in through your valid user credentials, you will be able to see the months for which you are entitled to, you are required to file return. Say there is a question that if you are registered in August, whether you will be required to file July return. So if you are registered in August, you will be required to file only return from the date of liability, and that very date will be, that month will only be visible in this. So we have a user who is registered in August, so you can file return of only August. This is a test environment, so you are able to see that August return and you can file it. So once you search for August, you will see the returns that are required to be filed by this taxpayer. They're visible on his dashboard. Now, for you can see that the GSTR1, the tile of GSTR1 is visible, then 2A is visible. These two have already been released, and you can furnish your invoice level data in GSTR1, but you can file it only from 1st to 5th for July and subsequently for August. But in the last you are seeing a tile for GSTR-3B. So this you are required to file. You click here, prepare online, you will see the different sections of GSTR-3B which you are required to file. And in the top you can see the name of your firm, the GSTN, and the due date of filing and tax period, all those things. And whatever you have saved earlier will be shown in the tiles. I have already filed, I have already entered some data in the different tables, and it is getting reflected on these tiles. So in the first section, what you can see, which is about tax on outward and reverse charge inward supplies, I have already filed these for the data whose summary is visible here. If I click, I can change this till I submit it. So I click here, I can see the values which I have filed earlier. I can change them. Say I change this. I found that my total taxable value of outward supplies other than nil rated was 10 lakhs and not 5 lakhs. So I change it to 10 lakhs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, take. The integrated tax which I am required to pay, these values you have to compute yourself and furnish. So integrated tax that I am required to pay is now 50,000. And the central tax that I am required to pay is 70,000 and 70,000. Okay. And cess I am required to pay is 1,000. Now, on the next, you are required to declare your outward supplies zero rated, that is supplies to export supplies and supplies to SEZ, which is 20,000. Here the value is, you can increase it to 2 lakhs. Other outward supplies you can declare here, which may be 5 lakhs. You can change it to 5 lakhs. Earlier it was 50,000 declaration. And inward supplies liable to reverse charge is declare 1 lakh. So you can have 1 lakh here. But you have to declare the tax that is liable to be paid on reverse charge, which is 6,000 here. And non-GST supply may be like petrol, diesel, all these things you have purchased of 60,000 that you need to declare here. One thing which I think people should not get confused is, though the header here is total taxable value, but in case of non-taxable rows, you declare the value of the supplies, because there won't be any tax on them, but still you have to declare the values here. Once you have entered these details here, you need to press this confirm button. This confirm button updates the tile values that you see on the top. But if you want to exit after doing this, you need to press the save button also. Otherwise, this data will get lost. and you will again have to furnish. Now, once you save it, all the data will remain there. If you come again, you will find this data in the section 3.1. Similarly, you have to declare this value of total state-wise details of unregistered taxable persons, composition taxable persons, and UIN holders. I have furnished the 2 rows already. I can add another row here. Say I want to declare unregistered supplies to Haryana. No, not Haryana. It will maybe Bihar. And the total taxable value is 2 lakhs. And the tax is 5,000. See, you have to declare similarly for supplies made to interstate composition taxable persons and interstate UIN holders. You need to keep one thing in mind, that in the earlier table, you are required to furnish the total integrated tax that is liable to be paid on your outward supplies. So the system is going to only validate that the total tax, integrated tax that you have declared in this table is less than the value that you have declared there. So you have to, if there is any error, the system, when you save, will throw a system error. Then you can confirm to update the tile on the dashboard and save here to save it so that it doesn't get erased if you are exiting or if your session is timed out. In this 4th section, you have to declare the ITC available. Now, ITC can be availed on import of goods, and which you will pay at the custom frontiers. That ITC you have to declare here based on the bill of entry documents. Then in case of import of services, you have to yourself pay taxes, which you declare in the above earlier table 3.1, and you claim credit in this table. Similar is the case for reverse charge supplies. And in case of ISD ISD invoices, the invoices that you have received from your other ISD registered parent units, that you have to declare in this row. It can be, suppose I declare here 5,000 here that you have received from the ISD, 5,000 integrated tax credit, and 6,000 central tax, 50,000 there, 60,000 and 60,000. All other, there is a row of all other ITC, which is the ITC that you are availing on inward supplies from other taxable persons within the state or outside the state. Now, this is a very broad category. Most of the time, you will have entry only in this category. But if you have carried out any reverse charge inward supplies, then you will declare under other categories or imports. Now, one question which people are asking, that where can they declare their credits which are allowable to them, transitional credits which are allowable to them as per the legal provisions of GST law. Now, what the understanding so far is that in this return, you have to declare the credits that are available to you based on your inward supplies in the tax period, say August or July, whichever tax period return you are filing. For transitional credits, you will have to file Trans 1 and Trans 2 form, which will be soon available on the portal. When you file this Trans 1 form, after certain validations, if the entry is valid, if the form filing is valid, then the credit that you claim will get auto-populated to the ITC ledger. And once those credits are entered or credited to the ITC ledger, you can use those credits for paying the tax liability when you are paying whether of 3B during the payment of 3B liabilities in this 3B return, or later on pre-return or after a couple of months. So far this provision, this facility is not available that you can claim ITC credit also in this ITC available. This is only for in respect of the inward supplies during the tax period. Now, as per Rule 4243 of CGST rule, you are required to reverse ITC if part of your supplies are being used for non-business or for exempted supplies. And those reversals have to be declared in this row. Suppose this business, he has the reversal is 50,000 rupees. You can declare here 50,000 for integrated tax and 40,000 for CGST and 40,000 here for SGST. These reversals you are required to do. You declare here. Other reversals you can declare any other reversals. 2,000, 2,000 and 2,000. Now net ITC available will be computed in the system and will be reflected in this row. This is, you don't have to enter, it is gets automatically calculated. And this is the ITC which will be available to you for utilization in this tax period. Now ineligible ITC details are also to be furnished. Certain inward supplies, you know right at the beginning that the ITC is not eligible, you are not eligible for ITC on them. You have to declare. There are two rows, one as per 17.5 like cars and those things. There is a list in section 17.5 for which you are not entitled for ITC right at the outset. That you have to declare here. Say I declare 6,000 in this table and 10,000 in this table and 10,000 here. And say maybe cess credit you are not eligible for 5,000. Now other ineligible ITC, because you are exclusively using it maybe for non-business or exempt or some other purpose, that you have to declare here. And once you have declared your ITC details, you need to confirm here. These details will get populated in this summary tile that you see on the dashboard. And if you save it, then it will get and their total amount in section 3.2. But you see, when I'm saying is saving, there is an error here because the total integrated tax that I declared in 3.2 is more than the tax in 3.1. So I need to change it. I will make it 10,000. Now it is not showing any error. I think there should not be any error. It has been saved now. Similarly, you can declare your exempt and nil-rated and non-GST supplies. Then what you do is, once you have declared all these and you are sure that you want to now freezes, the submit button is now enabled. Since you have completed all the sections, when you submit, the data will get frozen. Then you cannot change it. So I submit here. Now what happens is when you submit this button, your credits get auto-populated into your ITC ledger and your liability gets posted to your liability ledger. And now this payment tile will get enabled and you can pay your taxes based on making use of the ITC available to you and the cash available in the cash ledger. For this taxpayer, now all the tax payable, reverse charge and non-reverse charge are being shown separately in this table. You can see here on the left in the second column. And now you have to declare how you are going to use your ITC and cash to pay the return, to pay the liabilities in this 3B return. There is a button you can see on the bottom for checking balance. If you press this button, you will see the balance that is available in your cash ledger and ITC ledger. In cash balance, you see there is no amount cash available here. But ITC, since we have claimed ITC in the return, there is an ITC of 16,000, integrated tax ITC of 16,000, central tax ITC of 23,000, and state tax ITC of 23,000, and a 500 cess ITC available for utilization. Now you can make use of this ITC to make payment here. You say 50,000, you use 10,000 here. You use 20,000 here. And you use 40,000. Cash, there is no cash. If you write here, the system will throw an error. And even if this, if you're not following prioritization rule, then if you submit, you have to confirm here in the bottom of the offset liability button is there. So if you press this button, these liabilities will be discharged, but there is a restriction here that you have to, if all your liabilities are discharged, then only this operation will be successful. And if your declaration of ITC utilization is as per rule, then only you can successfully offset liability. Since you see, we have not paid all the liabilities, the system is throwing an error, which was visible there, and you cannot submit it. But if you are able to submit successfully, then it will be successful. देखें जरा कितना इसकी liability है, 50, 70, 120, 190, 191. कितना credit available? Credit available is less, so we cannot file a valid return for this taxpayer unless until we make payment into the cash ledger. Now, one question that has come from a participant is that where will be the tax paid on RCM will reflect in GSTR-3B. See, you have to first declare it in the table 3.1, and then your liability, when you are making payment, your reverse charge liabilities will be shown separately in this payment. So once iske baad offset ke baad, if you go back, say once if you have successfully paid all your liabilities, what will happen? This file GSTR-3B with EVC button will be enabled. That you have to press, an OTP will, and then you have to select the authorized signatory. And when you proceed for EVC filing, an OTP will come to your to the registered mobile authorized signatory with the GST portal, and he has to enter that OTP to successfully file the return. I think we have to keep in mind that you can successfully file return only when you have discharged all your liabilities. That was a brief demo of the process that you have to follow for successfully filing 3B return. Now I think we may take questions. Huh?